And I'm starting out in normal mode. Maybe I'll get to sport mode when somebody gets behind me. Just a mild cruise at 37 miles per hour. And looks like I see some activity going on up here that makes me think I might need to get off the road. Okay, this is roadside activity. And let's go to sport so I can get out of the way here. Yes. That wind is kind of like, I'm riding against a nice headwind, and it's kind of hitting me every now and again. The headwind is pretty tight. It's pretty tight. Alright, I guess this person was in a hurry because my 72 volt, for some reason, she's been clocking at around 55 miles per hour with no problem. So I just let her flow. But this car, I guess it was in a hurry, and they didn't want to see something with pedals outrun it, I guess. So I'm gonna shut my shield down here after I get turned off and start on this back road, because I'm pretty sure my wind level is high with this shield open, but it feels so daggone good out here because the weather is a little warm today, and hey, what can I say? This is riding weather right here. This makes me feel like it's almost summer again. So let's get it. Oh yeah, haha. Man, I had almost forgot how light and nimble the 72 volt limited edition is. I mean, hey, I've been riding the 80 volt now for quite a few weeks, and one of the things that I didn't really pay that much attention to is the fact that she's a much heavier girl than my limited edition here. And whenever I'm riding this limited edition, I can just swerve a little bit. Okay, I smell something, but I don't see anything. There might be somebody burning trash somewhere, possibly. But this is where I'll be flying to get to, my back roads. I absolutely love these back roads, as I say over and over and over again. And it looks like I got a car trying to come up behind me, but today, because I'm on this road, I'm not gonna fly. If this car wants to pass by me, I'll allow it to do so. Matter of fact, I'm going to act like I'm pedaling. I'm going to act like I'm pedaling on the opposite side of the road. I love it. That's the thing I love about the low profile of the Onyx bikes. I can stay low key like I got pedals. I can stay low key like I got pedals and nobody will ever know it. Whew, I feel a little bit of burn on my leg from this paddling I'm doing. And no one ever knows that it's like a moped. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, let me get back to business. Yeah, I don't like to be rushed when I'm riding these roads like this right here. Now, what manner of PEV therapy excites me today? People who need people to lead them and how to think and how to be in life. That is today's subject of my PEV therapy. Now, I'm looking at all the people that are lining up to cast their votes into a system in which their votes may or may not count. It's not my prerogative nor my argument to make, because I'm not involved in the process either way. But what I will say is that I will ask rather, not say, but why do people spend so much time trying to find other people to represent and speak for what they want to do with their lives? I mean, yeah, these individuals, they make the decisions about the laws and so forth that people live by in order to conduct themselves and to be successful or in business or whatever the case may be. I saw that bump. But at the same time, hey, you have to reach that place. You have to reach a place where you say, you know, regardless of who I vote for or who I put my trust in, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to make decisions that reflect my relationship with the God I serve. That's me. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm not trying to suggest for anyone else how to think. I'm just basically realizing that, you know, the system is not all this cracked up to be. I mean, you got elected officials that think more about their own bottom line or how much money they can make from the position they work in rather than what services they can render to the constituents that they're supposed to be representing. And it becomes obvious when you see so many cases of corruption, so many arrests, so many, I mean, it's just one thing after the next. And you have to ask yourself, you know, why am I investing my time, my energy, and my efforts into a system that's only going to leave me questioning whether or not my vote actually counted or not? And so I grew up as a Jehovah's Witnesses. So politics and voting and elections, all of those things were foreign to me until I became of age and I learned about the true nature of them. So I never really put that much emphasis on any of it. But what I will say I learned as one of Jehovah's Witnesses is that I would rather put my trust in God's kingdom being the ultimate solution to all of mankind's problems than to put my trust and my faith in a government providing a solution to the things that are going to bring about the best results in my life. And I respect people regardless of whatever beliefs they hold dear, whether it be political, religious, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I have to make my own mind up about how I choose to live my life. And I choose to live my life, in acknowledgement of God, of the presence of God in my life. And that's just my bottom line. I mean, I'm not, suggesting anybody else to follow a path that I follow or anything like that. But at the end of the day, that's how I feel about it, and that's just where I stand. And I let people hold whatever opinions they choose to hold, and I respectfully don't try to impose what I believe on other people. And unfortunately, we live in a society where everybody don't follow that creed. And I'm cruising along here, but I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. And I saw the car coming up in my rear view mirror. Let me make sure I got a good view. Yeah, I do. But cruising like this, man, this is where it's at. And this is where the limited edition excels at, right here. This cruise point. Now, when it comes to the 80 volt edition, cruising like this right here, it seems to burn a little bit more juice, simply because of the fact that it's a heavier bike. So naturally, I think it's gonna, it's gonna take a little bit more power to ride it. But I'm coming here through this little area called Rockfish, and I'm trying to make my way back to another back road so I can keep the journey going this morning. But before I do, I got to get out of the way of traffic. And I see a few more vehicles turning off behind me, so I'm gonna respectfully turn off the road and give it a pause to let these cars pass by me. Because one thing I do not like to do, and that is put myself in dangerous situations when I'm riding this bike. It's easy to do that on these back roads, and I don't like to be back here by myself and something happens to me, and somebody want to try to ride away because they don't want to be at fault for injuring this crazy cat that's out here riding this electric moped on the road with cars. And I guess that's the only downside that I would speak about when it comes to the 72 volt Onyx here, and that's the fact that it doesn't always ride at the speed of traffic. And so because it don't ride at the speed of traffic, I normally have to get off the road and let cars go so that I don't get myself in dangerous situations. Because one thing I don't like to do, I don't like to try to ride in an area where the traffic is clustered and I could possibly get into an accident. And But the Onyx RC, but the 72 volt, but the 72 volt limited edition, man, this bike is, it's a cruise machine. I mean, you can stop like this and just chill, and then you can just keep it moving. She don't get hot that much or anything, but back here on these back road, man, oh God, I keep saying it, but I really do mean it. This is where it's at. This is absolutely where it's at. And I just have to keep my head on a swivel and not get myself in no situation where somebody can run up on me and hurt me out here. I used to ride with a weapon, but then I stopped doing so after, I guess, my PEV therapy kicked in a little more. In fact, there were a lot of things that I used to do that I don't do anymore because, you know, I now have a nice system of therapy going with riding my PEVs and enjoying this outdoor life and just living my best life, you know. And I thank God for that. I really thank God for that. And sometimes it makes me teary-eyed when I think about where I've come from in my PEV therapy experience, and just allowing myself to get out here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, as I was saying, sometimes I get a little teary-eyed when I think about how far I've come when I'm just out here riding like this, and I'm enjoying this experience. And see another car behind me here, and one of the things that I like to do occasionally is stop and just. One of the things I like to do occasionally is just stop and reminisce, you know, and reminisce about the times when I was stuck up in my house, I was stressed about whatever, and a whole lot of things were circling through my mind, and, you know, and I was allowing other people's interpretation of my life to dominate who I was, and, you know, and one day I just reached that boiling point where I said, you know, fuck this. And after I came to that conclusion, you know, I said, I'm going to get up, I'm going to find something to do with my life, and I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to allow anybody or anything to disrupt me from that. And that's what I did, basically. And so once I made up my mind and I did that, everything changed for me. And when I say everything, I mean everything. I mean, none of those psychological, what they call it when the doctor, interpretations of my life, nothing. I kicked every form of medical therapy and treatment, and I turned my life around, and I began living vicariously through the experiences that I have every day when I'm out riding or whatever I'm doing. And that's what brought me back to this place where I'm at now, and that's why I'm grateful. You know, that's why I'm grateful to be out here riding and just enjoying my life. And I don't try to tell other people what to do or how to live or how to be, but this is what's working for me. This is what works for me, and I'm enjoying this moment, you know. I had to pull that helmet down. The wind, it kind of gets a little noisy, so it is what it is, and you have to, you know, you have to take a proactive stance against your own life and live it to the fullest, and not let anybody or anything push you to a point where you feel like you can't live your best life. And hey, you know, I had this savior complex where I saw bad things happening in the world and the way people were in the world, and I had this idea in my head that I was going to be a champion in a cause of some sort to help other people out. And you know, and eventually I learned that, you know, you can put all your energy and your effort into helping people, but at the end of the day, if a person is not willing to help themselves, then nothing you can do is going to motivate them to be their best selves. And so when I came to that ultimate reality, you know, when I came to the ultimate reality, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I had found something with me riding PEVs and exploring the therapeutic value of riding PEVs. And it's been a while since I've been down this way, but down here is where my little bro is buried. It's been a minute since I came to his grave site, so since I'm coming through this way, I figured I'd come through here and just visit his grave and keep it moving. But don't know how much more battery I got left in the Onyx, but figured I'd come through here and this is not normally something I do on a ride, but I just wanted to come through here, and I'm seeing a lot of people out here in my family were buried in this particular graveyard, and but one in particular that was real dear to my heart more than anything is my brother Virgil, and he's out here somewhere if I can find him right quick. Where you at, Virgil? Let me see. And we've had a lot of young people to leave here. That's Stella. Go my Aunt Stella. Wow. There go Daryl, my cousin Daryl Richardson. There go Stella. There go my... Wow. Wow, it's just memories. When I come out here, you know, you know, the memories that I have, it just start kicking in, and I'll be like, you know, there go Kevin. There go Elma. 2016. There go Annie Bell. Wow, man, that's, you know, a lot of my family out here. There go, yeah, Willie. Wow, that's my great-grandfather right there. Wow. April the 4th, 1905 to December the 5th, 1985. I was 15 years old. That's when I wore my first suit when I came to my grandfather's funeral. And that's my great-grandmother, Janie Ray, June 30th, 1908. And she died June 30th, 1987, 2 years after my grandfather Willie died. And them two, man, they were inseparable. She used to love drinking that coffee, I remember. Wow, there go Geneva. And, wow. Whoa, this is almost making me tear up, because when you come out here, you know, you have those memories. Those memories, they come back. They come back to haunt you. Well, not haunt you, but those memories, they come back and you feel them, you know, deep in your chest. But, so, who's this? Henry Worth Burroughs. Woo! Sitting up here with tears in my eyes, John. Come on, boy, get it together. But when you see these people and you know they're no longer here, it just kind of like it kind of like hits you, you know. We got some Evans out here, some Warrens out here, and Annabelle Warren McLean. That name sounds familiar. There go John Thomas over there, so that must be a relative. And I don't want to disrespectfully walk on a grave, so I'm trying to stay like in the middle somewhere. There go Bessie Harris. Wow. 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 Look at that, would you? 1926, 1977. I was 7 years old when Miss Bessie died. Wow. Thinking about all the Harrises that lady was at the head of before she left here. She was a nice, feisty lady. I used to love Miss Bessie. I won't but 7 years old, and I remember her just like, you know, it was yesterday. And John Willie Harris, yep, 2014. He was really the only real father, only person that I acknowledge as a real father. Yeah. There's so many people. Okay, there go Michelle. Yeah. Yeah. Thank God for the memories that sustain and hold a heart and place. Yeah. There go another young one. Yep. So, and Margaret Scurlock, Chris Scurlock. Now his face looks familiar, but I don't remember his death. Yeah. I still didn't see my brother. Where you at, Virgil? Who is this right here? Oh, that's Devon. Oh, there go my brother right there. Let me get over here before my camera run out of juice. Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Look forward to seeing you again, my bro. Look forward to seeing you again. Rest easy, Virgil. Rest easy. Until the time comes when the trumpet trumps. Whew. Yeah, I would talk about, the history of me and my brother, but I don't have enough space on this camera to hold it all. But lost my brother, February 17, 1972, died March 26, 2000. He'd been gone for 25 years, and it feels like he just left me a few days ago because I always hear his voice in my head. All right, with that trip down memory lane, as well as appreciation and praise in my heart that God has still got me here, I think I'll find my way back down the road here. And James Franklin, 1922 to 2008. Wow, there's a lot of people out here that I remember and some I don't remember. And then, sadly, I hate to say, you know, there are people that passed that I didn't know was gone that I saw out here. Fred Carey. Yeah. So if I came across a tombstone and somebody around the way can acknowledge who it was on that tombstone, I meant no disrespect by coming out here doing a video around your loved one's tombstone. But I'm just out here paying my respects to my brother, and I hope that in some way you'll find solace and comfort in the fact that I was here where your loved one was buried. So with that, you know, let's get back on the road and get my tail back home so I can get down to the business of doing my real work. And wow, I didn't contemplate that I would be out here going down memory lane like this and doing something like this while on my electric bike. And wow, it looks like the voltage has jumped back up. So hey, nothing wrong with that at all. But man, what an experience. Let me put my thing down here. So as of right now, so I guess I could say that experience was one that I never expected to leave me kind of feeling emotional because I have so many family and loved ones buried down here. But that's the nature of grief and loss. But hey, the living has to continue living. And that's the bottom line of that. Man, I love the idea that I can actually pedal a little. I can actually fake pedal, if anything. Wow, somebody got a ratted up car. I can actually pretend like I'm pedaling anyway. I love the experience. Gives my legs something to do. My leg don't get fatigued. But I guess the thing about having the 72 volt limited edition is that I can ride for so daggone far when I cruise like this, and I'm still in normal mode. I've been in normal mode for probably about 3 miles, and right now my speedometer is showing that I've ridden for 9.8 miles. But I probably won't make it all the way back home before my camera runs out of juice. But but I will do my best to drop some of this content today or tomorrow. Drop the hammer back down, and I'm still cruising here. It's been so long since I've been back here, and I know I have family and relatives back here, but it's like I haven't visited them in so long, until I don't just like to pop up on people without them knowing that I'm coming, and without making myself known, so that's one thing that I also don't so that's one of the reasons why I like to get out here and ride, so that I can familiarize myself with places, and then whenever I see a family or a loved one again, I can say, well, I went through such and such way, and then they can say, well, hey, I stay right at such and such place. And then I'll say, okay, well then the next time I'm through that way, maybe I can stop by and pay you a visit. And normally that's how I get like reacquainted with a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time. And that's also how I familiarize myself with where people stay in my surroundings that have lost touch with everybody, because after the COVID era, I think there's so many families, it's like totally split apart from each other. Nobody stays in contact with each other. And then there was the situation where so many people were like divided when it comes to what their beliefs and their ideology consisted of about everything, whether it be politics or the pandemic or vaccines or whatever. And that whole scenario of things, it just like really, really screwed up a lot of people's perception of family and what it means to be together and do things together. And I see a UPS truck coming up behind me, so I'm gonna punch it just a tad. Got it in sports now. And I'm gonna punch it a little bit just to see how much distance I can get from myself from this UPS truck. But all right, the truck turned off. I'm going back into normal. See, that's how I like to ride. I like to ride so that, and then this seems like there's another car back there. I like to ride so that, I don't find myself in no pickle. I don't get in no pickle by riding too slow and then having people ride up behind me real fast. And sometimes if people ride up behind you real fast, either trying to see what you're riding or to just pass you because they don't like the fact that you got pedals and you're flying in front of them. And they don't want to look like they're, I don't know, I can't think for them, but people do kind of like act a little finicky whenever they So right now I am at the 12-mile mark. Hi, how you doing this morning? Right now I'm at the 12-mile mark, and it looks like this thing is doing pretty good, to say that it's just 72 volts and 45 amp hours. And I did a nice loop, and we're still looking at 76.7 volts. I'm still well over halfway on the battery, so at that rate, I think I'm still good for at least another 20 to 30 miles on this one charge that I've made on it this morning. And I haven't did full throttle most of the ride. I've just basically kept my ride moderate and tried not to go crazy with it. But I have reached speeds of up to 55 miles per hour, but then I decided to drop it back down, and that has served the purpose of me not running my battery completely out, which is something that I can say has been a bonus. And another thing that I might add is that I'm going to do a temp check on the motor to see how hot the motor has or has not gotten. And checking the temperature on the motor, I don't feel any heat dissipation at all. None whatsoever. So that's definitely a plus. And yeah. And finally, I can see a little bit of the fronds on the tires starting to wear down from the newness of the bike. But one thing I can say for sure is that back tire, it kicks up a little dirt, so definitely going to need a rear fender on it. And I'm going to come to a conclusion soon about that. But I kind of like how the limited edition uses this battery more so than the 80 volt, because the 80 volt, the way it uses this battery, it drains it pretty quickly. So I'm going to get back on the road here and see if I can't get to the house and get this video out so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Oh, it's such a beautiful day today as well. I kind of like the limited edition as more of a long range bike than the 80 volt, because this limited is so lightweight that it barely even, let's make sure my mic is still in here. I don't know. Yeah, it barely even, the weight of the bike and the weight of the bike in harmony with the power of the battery is more balanced than that of the 80 volt RCR. And the reason why I say that is because the 80 volt RCR feels a little bit heavier and beefier on the ride, whereas the 72 volt limited edition, it has a more balanced, lightweight feel to the ride that leads to a scenario where at lower speeds, it seems like the 72 volt can outshine the 80 volt when it comes to power consumption, meaning that the 80 volt at lower speeds would run out of juice before the limited at lower speeds. And that's what this comparison kind of leads me to the conclusion of. And I might be wrong about that. I haven't tested it to the full, but that's what it feels like. It feels like riding the limited, and I'm going uphill now, and she's pulling me. I'm in normal mode, and she's pulling me at a nice 30 miles per hour at least, because I know my speedometer is slightly off just a little with the limited edition as opposed to the 80 volt. But one thing I can say about both my 45, both the limited edition as well as the 80 volt, is that they are super duper quiet. Listen to how quiet this bike is. I mean, wow. I could actually hear myself talking, while the wind is gushing in through my helmet with only a face shield on my helmet. So both of these bikes are pretty lightweight bikes. Beautiful, beautiful horses. Little Shetland ponies that look like anyway. But this has been an amazing 13.9 miles of therapy. Just talking, just letting my mind go, just letting things out of my heart, just digressing from all the stresses in the world, and allowing the wind and the G-force to be my guide. I love this. I absolutely love this. And if it's any of you guys out there that are stressing about stuff and worrying about things and just constantly finding yourself in this cycle like a hamster on a wheel running round and round and round, then I encourage you, get an e-bike, get a electric moped, get something and get active. Get active on your mental health, get active on your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and just live. Live your life. Don't live it for anyone else but yourself, you know. And whatever you choose to believe in or prescribe to believe in, you do it. And you do it well, and you do it in a way where you just enjoy being you. That's the only recommendation that I would give to anybody that's, that's stressed about the current condition of things around them and wondering how they're going to escape the reality that constantly seems to crush everybody's mind into a rabbit hole of distractions. And get something and get active. And I said get something. I didn't say get some, but if you want to get some, come and get some. No, I'm just joking. Oh man. And I remember a time when I couldn't even have a sense of humor. I was so serious. I was so serious and so always so frustrated that I didn't even know how to have a sense of humor. And I'm looking at a few cars behind me, so I'm punching it a little bit more than I wanted to. But wow, I've ridden for 15 miles, and now I'm pinning it. I'm getting close to 50 miles per hour. Well, I'm probably a little bit over 50 miles per hour. Slight uphill, but I'm making it back to my destination. And this is almost the same amount of, this is almost the same distance with just a little variance. And this is almost the same distance with just a little slight variance than what I traveled on the 80 volt Onyx. But it's been an amazing morning. I've gotten out here, ridden my electric skateboard, and then turned around and got on the 72 volt Onyx. The Limited. These girls are still eating. they just eat. But they still laying good eggs, so I cannot complain about them eating. Whew, what a ride. 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 Oh my gosh, that was so wonderful. I don't feel fatigue in my body. I don't feel like, I don't feel like that ride taxed me to a degree where my body feels fatigue either in my hand. And man, I'm telling you, that throttle assist, it is the best thing since light bread. The only thing that I have to be mindful of doing whenever I stop the 72 volt Limited is I just pop, turn it off. And so that I don't whiskey throttle when I'm walking around taking off my gadgets and stuff like that. But what can I say? You know, I know I keep using that expression beast mode, but that's all I can think to say whenever whenever I'm like overly excited. Beast mode, beast mode. But nah, real talk. I just pinned it coming down that strip. You know what? I have to say something that I didn't acknowledge before or after I got the 80 volt RCR. This bike right here, in my opinion, it's more efficient in riding for long ranges than the 80 volt RCR. I mean, that bike, it kicks out so much power, and the weight, you know, it kind of like is a factor for the controller, and it heats up. And I did get my heat sensor warning on the 80 volt long ride that I posted the other day on YouTube. But this bike seems like it's more efficient to ride, much more efficient to ride. And look at that battery. Look at the battery I used from the 15.8 miles that I just rode. I mean, it's like, I don't think I would have the same numbers if it was the 80 volt. I'm sure I wouldn't have the same numbers. Like right now, I think I'm sitting on probably 55%. Yeah, it was 55% that I ended up with whenever I came back from my trip on the 80 volt. And I had done probably around about 22 miles. And so this shows me right here that at the pace that I was riding, and I rode faster on the 80 volt than I did on the limited edition, of course, but at the same time, it's not the speed that was the major thing that I was looking forward to enjoying. It was mostly the opportunity to cruise at a very leisure pace and enjoy the therapeutic experience of my ride. So, therefore, I can't believe I'm saying it, but the limited edition actually outshines the 80 volt when it comes to my therapeutic experience of long distance riding and saving as much of my battery power as I can from that long distance ride. You know, and that 15.8 miles, it was wonderful. I got a chance to stop. I got a chance to just elaborate. So I'm not going to talk too much, but I just want you guys to know that, man, you know, PEV therapy is a real thing for me, and it works for me, and my life is just getting better and better, and now I have all these ideas in my head about things that I can do for work right now, and my creative juices, they are on par.